and that's where the name Pagoda is actually coming from.
Hello everyone and welcome to our Ucar YouTube channel. We are on our way to Germany to visit the Mechatronik collection and get a full factory tour, and we are going to show you some really rare cars. I'm really curious what they have inside, so I would say let's go and follow us.
This is in general what we are mostly well known for.
Yeah.
This is called the MSL,
Yeah.
based on a Pagoda. We always use a 250 or a 280 as a base car because we need the space for the powertrain, so that don't work with a 230.
Yeah.
And as I said, if you close the bonnet, you won't expect what's underneath.
Yeah.
And we always call it a wolf in the sheep's clothing, because if you're on the autobahn and someone comes from behind with his Golf GTI and think, oh, that old man in his Pagoda, I'm going to overtake that one. We have 320 horsepower in that. So 5-liter V8, natural aspirated AMG engine.
Yeah.
With the modern powertrain, obviously. 5-speed automatic gearbox. And we really try to keep that car as original as it gets from the outside. Yeah. So it's a bit lower, it's a bit wider. We use 1-inch bigger wheels because the brakes underneath.
Yeah.
But if you're not really in the Pagoda topic, you won't recognize it.
Yeah.
In the interior, for example, we try to hide all the stuff in the original components. And I mean, obviously, the center console, that is not original anymore. And if you are a chain smoker, you don't have an ashtray anymore. No. But you have electric power windows and optional seat heating and stuff like that. Yeah. But yeah, if you close it,
it looks like an ashtray.
That's it. Yeah, so it's very important for us that we are not well known as a tuning company or whatever. It should be very classy, but we always try to explain our clients that it's not about to build a race car in that. So, for example, we still have the original rear axle construction and front axle construction, but of course the whole suspension completely new. Also brakes with ABS and RSR in the car. Quite important with that amount of power, but it's still not a race car. Yeah. So you should still feel what you're actually driving. It shouldn't drive like a new C63 AMG. You have more power, you have more safety features, but one thing should be clear: if you have a serious accident in that, there's no other way that you're gonna die. So even if you have seat belts and modern stuff. So also the sound system, for example, with navigation, it looks classy, but you have navigation, Bluetooth, USB, whatever you want is in there. And then it's really up to the client. So we have a configurator on the website where you can choose your dream spec basically. Yeah. And in general, you have two possibilities as a client. So one is you already own a base car and you bring the base car to us, or the other way around is that we supply the base car and work from there. Yeah. These are basically the two possibilities you have.
Okay, how many possibilities you can choose on the car that you can make it different or make it your own? Is it everything?
Yeah,
or?
Literally everything. Also when it comes to the color and things like that, stitching, leather. The only limit is your imagination. Yeah.
How many of these cars do you have produced?
So we produce 5 cars of these a year, and not because we say we want to keep the production number low, to say it's very exclusive. We just can't produce more. Yeah. You know, that's basically it. We're struggling to find new people because we have some pretty strong competitors around, Porsche, AMG. So we really try to get the next generation in the company. But as I said, there's lots of work. Yeah. We're talking about over 2,000 working hours to complete such a car. And we just can't produce more. So we have 5 MSL a year. Yeah. 5 M convertibles based on the W111 and 5 M cubes. So this is the production basically we have, which means 15 cars a year, and that keeps us quite busy in the workshop.
I can understand,
building those retro mods is the part the Mechatronik is famous about, I guess.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. So we are mostly well known for all the new tech stuff.
Yeah.
So, and I have to admit, meanwhile, the new tech series is much more important for the workshop than the original restorations. Yeah. Because the amount of people willing to spend 200,000 or 300,000 euros for a normal Pagoda, it's quite rare.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say 90% of the stuff happening in the workshop are cars from the new tech series. So this is basically how the car looks very close before it goes into the paint shop. And for us it's very important that we take the time for everything, so we also go to the body shop later on.
Yeah.
But as you can see, it's all about the details to bring already the raw body as good as it gets to the level where it gets painted.
Yeah.
There's still, of course, filler coming on the car, but we really try to reduce filler as much as it gets.
Is this an original? Is this handcrafted by yourself?
No, this is original.
Yeah.
This is basically an original body, which was, of course, restored because you have corrosion on some parts, so you have to replace some parts. You have alloy doors, for example, alloy bonnet. You can see the difference on the material there. So yeah, when a car like that has corrosion at some point, you have to switch the parts, which is a bit more complicated on a car like that because on the Pagoda it's still much easier to get spare parts straight from Mercedes. Yeah. On these it's much more difficult to find
spare parts.
Spare parts. There are cars even worse than that, but it's already not easy to find some parts. Right, and here you can see basically why you have the Gullwing doors, because the chassis is pretty high at this point, so there was no other way than to put the roof on top, the doors on top, and I think it's still very, very impressive what the car can achieve today, even it's 60-year-old now. So in 2020 I went to an event in St. Moritz with a friend to the ice, put a ski rack on the roof and drove there on the road. And I gave a Porsche boxes of flashlights from behind the 200, and that really shows how good the car is, because I don't know how we drive in 60 years or how we, what we use, probably fly or whatever. But that this car is still able to drive in normal traffic, normal day traffic is, I think, really impressive. I prefer the Roadster, to be honest, because I'm quite tall, and in the roads it's just more comfortable. You have a bit more space, more relaxed rear axle construction, because the Gullwing basically came very close from the race car. So the Gullwing is more competitive, I would say, and the Roadster is a bit more relaxed. All the engines we have in the new tech series cars are in general fully overhauled, which means you basically get a brand new engine. Of course, they're used before, but because they're completely overhauled, you basically have a new engine in it. And this is the engine of 2.5 16-valve Evolution 2. And absolute nightmare to find spare parts for an engine like that. Absolutely a pain. Yeah, that's something very difficult. And we have some race cars in the collection, and we're very focused on historic racing. We'll see some race cars later on. This is 300 SLS. Not the original one, to be honest. Based on the original 300 SL Gullwing, but more for the competitive stuff. So a bit more power. So 300 SL from factory has 225 horsepower. This has around 25 more than that. Some engine parts are optimized. As you can see, the roof is missing. So it's good fun to drive the car, except you are in the Alps at 15 degrees and rain. Then it's not that fun anymore. So here's normally the roll bars. So we're normally here, and we just did some adjustments, and the car came back from the paint shop. It's now going to be completed again. So this is a car from our own collection. obviously the reason why the car is called Pagoda is because of the hardtop.
Yeah.
Because it looks like a pagoda building from China. So this is the shape of the roof, basically.
Yeah.
If you look from, well, you can't see it now. But if the hardtop would be on the car, it would have been that shape, and that's where the name Pagoda is actually coming from. You know where the name 722 is coming from?
No, I don't know.
So that's an interesting story. So the name 722 was the starting time of Stirling Moss at the Mille.
Oh yeah.
So he was starting at 7 a.m. and 22 minutes in the morning, and this is where the name 722 is coming from. And I have to admit, I love the SLR in general. I think it starts with the engine. 5.5 liter supercharged engine, also used in the CLK DTM. The sound of the engine when you rev the car, I think it's just insane. And I love the 722, but to be honest, would I buy one with that premium on top? So from the collector's item, yes, no doubt, of course. If you say, I want to have the ultimate Mercedes collection, you probably have to buy a 722. But just to use it, to have it, I think there's actually no reason to pay that premium on top.
No.
So when there's a chance to get the carbon fiber front splitter and the rear diffuser, I think that's much cheaper than pay the price on top for a 722.
Yeah.
I think, you know, what is so cool about that car is the fact when it came out in 2009, the collector's car market was completely different. You know? Meanwhile, every idiot is buying new cars because he thinks he can flip it a week later for a big margin profit. In 2009, the economy was down. Nobody really was going for it. Nobody wanted an SLR. You only got one in the case you already bought a normal one before. Production number of 75 cars in total, which is super rare compared to an SP2 or SP1. Because meanwhile, I think all the manufacturers, they just found out that they can make a lot of money with this limited edition cars because the people are just buying it. Even, you know, with these new cars, they just put a little badge on the car and say it's one of 150 or whatever, or one of 1,000. Back in the days, cars like a CLK DTM or whatever, just something completely different, and actually from the economical point of view completely stupid because they never earn money with it. But it was something really special, and I think so is the SLR Stirling Moss. I think they made a great job, and the car is now already over 10 years old. It still looks outstanding for me. White wouldn't be my favorite color, but it's one of the rarest colors on the Stirling Moss. Only 4 have been produced in white. Only 2 of them with the black carbon fiber option. A friend of mine was sitting on a passenger seat and he hit a bee around 150 kilometers per hour. And it looked like someone shot him with his soft air straight in his face. So the ideal temperature, whatever, is around 20 degrees, slightly cloudy, perfect. I think this showroom really shows that we are not a typical dealership, because in that showroom actually only one car is actually for sale. Which is the roof PTR in the corner over there. Everything else from their own collection and not for sale. And I think that's pretty cool, because we are not the typical dealership you have where you just go in and say, I want to buy that car, because the answer then will be, that's nice, but you can't buy it because we're not selling it. We have some very, very special cars in there, so this is more than normal modern stuff. GT Black Series, GTR Pro. But over there, I think this is one of the most special AMGs ever. It's the so-called CLK 63 Black Series Tracksport. It's a one-of-one. They produced one prototype and this car for a private track tour for most important AMG clients ever. Because he said a normal CLK Black Series is not enough. Even a DTM is not enough. He had several DTMs. So AMG built that for him. And obviously the car is not road legal, but it's just insane. 6.3 liter natural aspirated engine.
You can eat from it like that.
Yeah, so if you are
small dinner.
If you're very small, you can eat from the rear diffuser. If you're tall, you can use the rear wing. This car is probably the coolest car in the collection of the company, because we only call her Tiffany because she was delivered to the Tiffany family in New York. One of the very last roadsters ever produced. This breaks from factory, and the most outstanding thing about that, unrestored. This car is in fully original conditions. Fully original exterior, interior, and I just love the color combination of it. it drives so well, and this is the reason why I said I just love the 300 in general, because, for example, I can't drive these 50-60s Ferraris with the big steering wheels, and I can't drive a British Holland wheel, they don't fit in the car. The steering wheels in my legs, it doesn't work. In the 300 it works, and I just love it. I think this is the coolest car in the company's collection. Yeah,
I can believe.
I think that's super cool.
This was our trip at Mechatronik. We had a great visit. We have seen some really rare cars. There are some cars that are hidden for the camera, and we have seen those, and those are really great. Great company. They do a great job on the Mercedes cars, and also some Porsches and other stuff. I really liked it, and we enjoyed it, and now we are going back to Holland. And that was the end of this video. See you next week, same day, same time, and don't forget to subscribe and follow us on TikTok and Instagram. Bye.